What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got another review for you today. This is definitely a classic knife. Before I get into it, I'd like to thank all my subscribers, my Patreons. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, it's linked down below. You can also become a channel member, get to use the cool emojis and access to channel member exclusive content. Also, if you like the content, hit the like button. It's right down there. I'd really appreciate it. And if you really want more content, hit the subscribe button. You listen to me ramble on more about knives like this one. Not sure what else I can say about this one that hasn't been said by a million people a million times over. Everybody seems to have strong opinions on this one either way. But this is the classic. A lot of people would argue the only knife they'll ever need, buck 110. USA made, classic buck 110. This is the frame lock, or the back lock, I'm sorry. They do come in all kinds of different variants. They start around 60 bucks. You know, I think you can probably even get them cheaper than that. I'm just going off of what I saw earlier, just kind of scrolling through the prices of them. They get really expensive. I mean, they have an automatic version of it. All kinds of different versions, different steels, different finishes on it, different locking types. So yeah, but this is the original. This is the one I've got. This is the buck 110, the frame lock. So before I get too far into the weeds, I'm gonna go ahead and go over the specs. So overall, buck 110, you got from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle, right at 8 and just a hair over 8.5 inches. Blade length, you got 3 3/4. Sharpened edge length, you got right at 3.5 on there. So definitely what I would call, you know, a full-size knife for sure. Get out the calibers here. Let's see, blade stock thickness, you're looking at 116 thousandths, thickest part of the spine. Flip her over behind the edge. 18.5, 19 thousandths, right? 19 thousandths. Handle thickness, 0.6 of an inch. Definitely a hefty handle, you know. Definitely a full grippy handle for sure, you know, but no issues there. It's, you know, not too big, not too small, you know, kind of in the same realm as most knives are. So let's go ahead and do size comparisons. We'll get out another classic American made knife, but a modern one. That's the Doug Ritter Hogue RSK MK1, and that is the Hogue Deca. So definitely looks like it's longer than, a little bit longer than the Ritter Hogue, and definitely longer than the Hogue Deca. You can see it's every bit of the definition of what I would say is a full-size knife for sure. Ontario Knives Rat Model 1. So really close to the size of the Rat 1, right? When you look at it, maybe a little bit longer than the Rat 1. And that's of course, you know, it's larger than the smaller Rat. That's the Rat Model 2. And we'll go with the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, that's the Assault one, and the Maximate Spyderco Para 3. So looks like it's longer than both of those too, a lot longer than the Para 3, and a little bit longer than the Paramilitary 2. Now let's get out some similar style knives, I would say. This is an old slip joint. It's my grandpa's old case. It's definitely been sharpened a time or two, but yeah, you can tell it's definitely bigger than that. And this is what I would say is like the Para 3 is to the Para 2, or the Rat 2 is the Rat 1. This is the buck 112, a little bit smaller version of the 110, right? But still pretty good size knife itself. Still haven't done a review on that one yet. But yeah, there's size comparisons between those. I keep forgetting these are actually back locks. So let's see, where is, get kind of idea of the thickness of it. You know, little bit thicker than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Let's get the scale out. Do some weighing. I don't know, I'm wanting to say around 6 ounces, something like that. It feels like a pretty chunky boy. Oh, that's heavier than I thought. 7.3 ounces. Okay, 7.3 ounces. That's for the. I'm sure other versions might weigh a little less or more, give or take. But it does have what looks to be brass. I think that's brass on the bolsters and internals too, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, definitely a chunker for sure. I'll get that weight one more time just to make sure. Yep, 7.3. So by comparison, let me see what would be a good. This is a really good size knife. You know, a lot of people would say too heavy for some people. You know, for a lot of people, depending on what your application is. That's a ZTO 562. That's 5.4 ounces, so it's 2 ounces heavier than that one. But yeah, they give you a good idea of the weight. This one does not have a pocket clip, you know, so whenever you look at it with the blue jeans, it's just going to go in the pocket. Now it did come with let's see if I can get it out here. I think this is it, or maybe not. Trying to find the sheath. Came with like a little sheath. Yeah, there you go. Buck 110, Buck USA. Sheath made in Mexico. So yeah, you can put it in the sheath like that. It's got a belt loop, you know. Good you know, I would say good out in the woods carry for sure, you know. I mean, especially if you put the little sheath on your belt loop there. And plus that would free up some room in your pocket too, I guess. Blade steel on this one, I'm not 100% sure on the blade steel on this particular one. They do come in a lot of various different blade steels though, just like a lot of classic knives like that. They kind of, you know, did them up in a bunch of different blade steels. I'm looking at, let's see, this is BladeHQ. They got the automatic. This looks like that one's an S45VN. I know this one isn't an S45VN. Not 100% sure on that blade steel. Huh. I don't believe it says it anywhere on there, right? I'm not sure if that would be like a, you know, a lot of the old style knives like that would come in like surgical stainless or some kind of unlisted stainless blade steel. But I'm looking at, this is another one, ebony finish, blade material. This one says 420, so not 100% sure on the blade steel. You know, it is pretty razor sharp, I'd have to say. I mean, looking at the, get out a piece of paper here. I mean, it definitely, you know, definitely will go through some paper. I don't know how long it'll hold an edge though, you know, against realistic, you know, out in the woods type of applications, like, you know, whittling wood or you know, kind of splintering up wood for a campfire, skinning something I'm sure it'll last, you know, for one outing just fine. You know, I just don't know how long that edge would stay good for. Not really anything to talk about as far as hard. I mean, everything's kind of, you know, bolstered in there. You got rivets, you know, there's no screws, so everything's solid. Little back lock. I like how they made the access to the back lock kind of small there, you know, and unobtrusive. The wood looks really nice. That'll patina over time. I'm almost positive that's brass. Again, I traded for this knife, so don't really have the full like spec sheet or anything like that came with it, but yeah, pretty solid too. I mean, it feels solid, you know, once it's locked out. It feels pretty good, pretty solid. But definitely, you know, not a knife that you would carry with you on a walk or you know, a jog or something where you're doing something athletic. You know, I would suggest like definitely a more modern day knife, you know. But out in the woods with that sheath, I mean, might not be too bad, you know. The little notch on there is perfect for opening and closing it. You know, you can probably one hand open it. You know, I'm not that good with it, but it is a solid back lock, you know. So definitely two-hand opening is probably where it's at with this one. And like I said, these come in all kinds of variants. These have been out for decades. You know, Buck 110's been around for a long time, and there's a lot of people's first, you know, solid pocket knife, and it is a good pocket knife. Just to me, it's been bested, you know, many times over through the years. You know, I mean, I would probably be more likely to carry this, you know, than this. But that's just me, you know, and I would definitely be more likely to carry this than this for sure. But out in the woods, you know, with the sheath, that's a different story. You know, I mean, you might prefer something, you know, heavier like this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in the comments, you know, talk about how it's horrible. There's going to be a lot of people in the comments talk about how it's better than what I said, you know. But this is just my take and my opinion on it. For many people, it's an excellent first knife, you know, and just like all things, you know, everything through the years gets bested by other things, and this is one of them. You know, I mean, since the release of the Buck 110, you've had the advent of all kinds of different, you know, locking systems and materials and steels and everything. But this is definitely still a classic. You know, should be an item in what I would think, if you're a collector, you know, it'd be good to have in anybody's collection. So anyway, that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, listening to me ramble. Sorry about not knowing you know, everything about it. I think it might be 420C. If it was S45N, I think they would be proud of that. I think they'd tell you somewhere on that blade. But yeah, not 100% sure on that steel type. But anyway, thanks for watching, and hit the like button if you like the content. If you want to have more of it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.